all right. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How was your week? How are your kids doing?
I kind of gave them a week to transition from the last units to this new one. So it was kids were able to like catch up, get a breath, and like they were really relieved. I'm like, oh, our only assignment's just this one quiz. I'm like, yeah, just this one thing. Then you can go backwards. It was good.
Okay, great. And then so today, your students are looking at all the models you made of the car they're going to make, right? So how did you
They're,
set that up?
they're looking at models, and they're actually going to start the engineering process as well. So I wrote them a letter, basically.
And as they're looking at the models, what are they looking for? What are you hoping they get by looking at the models?
The main thing is that I made a couple that were, and I found a couple on YouTube as well that were not traditional like car models, because I
Right.
really wanted them to think of like any system they want. So like there's one where these two neighbors, they write notes and they pull a string between their houses. And there's one where like a pendulum swings with like a paint can and it collects it. So just as many different, just outside the box ideas as possible.
Oh, that's great. That's so awesome. And so then today, after that, the kids are you going to go with this idea that the kids are going to tell you what they need to learn to be able to do this, and then you just start making the lessons connected to the standards? Is that kind of the plan?
Kind of, that's the plan. Yeah, they're going to start by building, and then they're going to kind of take a pause and like, wait, what do we need to do this well?
Okay.
So I wanted to let them like dive right in and start ideating and start just creating their
Right.
first prototype. And then when we go into the testing and evaluating stage, they'll be able to like slow down and be like, oh, okay, what do we need to actually do here?
Okay, great.
So I want to build momentum first. Yeah.
It's so fun that right now, as we're talking, your students are in.
Yeah.
learning and
There's three
listening.
in this document, Eleanor and Evan and Jaden. Yeah. And then there's a slideshow that they could be in as well, where most of them.
That's so fun. So great.
Yeah.
Fun. Tell me about any students, about using names, anyone that you're thinking about really focusing on this week, who you're going to tend to this week? Speak maybe 2 students.
I have a couple in mind.
Mhm.
One of them, she has not done any work for any of her classes,
Mhm.
but she's been sending her teachers emails. So I
Okay.
don't know. And basically it's, you know, we don't have internet right now, but we kind of have it. This is on my data plan. So like, I'm trying to do something that this assignment's very offline.
Mhm.
And we're going to use some of the Google text stuff where she can just text pictures to this Google account of like her work. So we're going to try to kind of take it offline for her a little bit. So I
Nice.
will check in with her if I can.
Nice.
Then there's just some other ones who have already built their project based on just the question I asked on the quiz last week.
Oh, wow. So the quiz is tied to it now. And so those are kids who are built and you want to get them into more the testing phase and kind of
Right.
extend
And
their.
all I asked him was, how would you get something 5 meters to a neighbor? It could be whatever, Xbox controller, can of soup, and they just like already started. So
Okay, great.
yeah.
So every week you're thinking about this tend idea. That is so great. Tell me a little bit about the letter that you sent to your students. I see it up on the screen, but just tell me what's the pieces, just big picture.
So just a little welcome. The actual challenge: using objects that are already in your house, create a system or machine that can transport objects up to 5 meters. This is the engineering process that me and the STEM teacher at work have like decided works for our classes. They use it in drama. They use it kind of everywhere. Create a machine that can transport an object 5 meters. Rules, just some variables, and then this is how I'm going to grade it, like which template they're going to need to submit. And then I gave them a little calendar. But again, it's not like the big missing piece is that text piece, because like they don't know exactly what they need to learn yet.
Okay, great. Tim, could you go back to the how you're going to check if they know? Will you just talk about that for just a second in your plan? Yeah.
These things.
Yeah.
So each step of our engineering process, I've given them a template for it. And that's what they're going to be graded on in terms of like just their check-in. So we're just doing, if they did their work that week, they get a check mark. It's not a perfect grading system, but it's what we have to do. And most of my communication is like, well, what do I need to turn in right now to get credit for this? And this is like, turn in this template to get credit, turn in this template. So it's not so much like the learning they're going to do, but like, this is what you need to submit to get the check mark to pass this class. So
okay.
yeah.
And this is kind of like their plan. Any way you could click on one of those? Is this like their plan for the week or?
I can click on one. Yeah. Let's see the first template. Black slides are information, and then white slides is where they're going to do their typing and writing.
Okay.
So they'll basically treat this like a worksheet. Write 3 sentences defining the problem, and then here's the questions that lead them to that. And then kind of do their ideations, like whether they're drawing or inserting an image or a video or anything. That's where they put it, is in this slide.
Awesome.
So this is the defining the problem and ideation template. So this is the first step of the engineering process. This is the first part that they will do.
Awesome. Great. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So one thing you said as you're planning is really talking about the text part and how you are going to support kids, because we know that just like right now, many of your kids are working offline when you're not there, you're with me, and they're working and they're looking at things. And so what is the text that can support kids? And we know there's no perfect piece of text that will hit all kids. And we talked, I think 2 times ago, about choice, like having some sort of choice board with a lot of different texts. And you can say, as you're tending to kids, you could say, go into this one, go into 3, go into 5. So just kind of broadly, Tim, how do you define text in this unit?
In this unit, text is anything that will make their engineering kind of better.
Okay. So that's pretty broad, right? Could be video, could be written.
Right. Examples of other students' work.
One piece of text for sure that you want to put on there for some kids, if we're thinking about making a choice board, would be the engineering process, which was in your original slides for your original unit before you went remote, right?
Yep.
Also heard you say 1 or 2 times ago that you anticipate that some of your kids might get frustrated by the change, fail, change, fail, change, fail process. I wonder if there's a cool either text video or some sort of an interview where kids can read the experience of some real engineers and about how it's okay to go through all these processes. And it's more about just learning from each test rather than having a perfect product at the end. So I wonder if we could get like real engineers.
In the past, we've used the book and the movie. The book is Rocket Boys and the movie's October Sky.
Oh, yeah.
We always go back to that montage when the rocket just keeps blowing up and failing over and over. So I could actually probably, if I could find that clip on YouTube.
Okay.
I could say, hey, we're not making rockets, but like, what does this tell you about this process?
Right.
Actually,
so, as you're tending the kids and reading their templates, you could say, hey, are you thinking that, it's frustrating to build all these pieces, and you could show them those pieces. I think that would be cool. And then also just read. Right here. We know that reading every day is incredibly important. We know that readers who are on track read at least 60 minutes independently a day. So anything that you can read for them, not read for them, but any sort of text you can provide for them just to practice those reading skills, because they're going to have high interest because of this project. But anything else that you can think about. And now I'm talking a little more traditional text. One of my favorite interviews formats is from the BBC. I bet you could Google BBC and get engineering interviews. And kids love that format, especially middle school kids. And just see if you could get an interview script from that. And again, a nice balance of video plus some text, because we got to keep kids' faces in text.
Agreed.
Tim, have you seen any of those online programs where you can actually write on the text and kids can annotate? Have you ever seen those?
I have. I don't know what kids have access to right now.
Okay.
Right. The easiest way is just to model it in a video of doing it in Google Doc with comments.
Right.
So I'll have a Google Doc where kids can comment, and then they have to highlight a different part and do their annotation. It's not as good at marking the text, but it's worked for this.
Right. And I'm thinking about your one student who is having a hard time with the internet. If she had access to a few of those articles somehow, I don't know if you guys have food pickup or whatever, she can come to your school, or just if you could email them to her. And then that could be a way that she could show that she's really thinking about this engineering process. So just an idea. All right. So today we talked a little bit about tending. We talked about how your kids are looking at the model. And then we're talking about text. So what are you going to do about text?
I think that, we've been doing like a daily trivia on our Google Class stream. I think we could switch it to just like a daily read.
Oh,
4
cool.
or 5 paragraphs of something just to get kids reading, and then maybe let them comment with each other on like what's interesting. There's a small group who likes a daily check-in. Most of our kids are doing this like kind of one-stop shopping, like, oh, let's do my extended core today, boom, done. All right, now go back to it till next Wednesday or whatever.
Uh-huh.
The kids who like to check all their classes every day, I want to keep something in there. So maybe I could, we're just doing like dumb daily trivia right now, but we could replace that with like a daily read, like a daily debate. Like, hey, find 5-6 paragraphs about something and have kids answer a question about it.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Keep minutes in text. I love it. Well, we had this whole meeting. Your son didn't even wake up. Oh, you look at the monitor now. Is he waking up?
Can't tell. No, he's good.
Okay. All right. Well, Tim, thank you so much. Have a great week. I really appreciate you talking through your planning process. And I think that it was super helpful to see both your engineering letter, kind of your task, and then also to see those I think you called them templates, where kids are going to do those weekly check-ins to check in. So it really helps kids understand what can actually turn in. So
yeah, that'll be cool.
You're such a great teacher.
Oh, thank you.
Teacher. All right, Tim. Take good care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.